Hi, good morning. It is time for our Smartdoll shrug. I really don't know what to call this. It's basically sleeves with a tiniest bit of jumper in the world, but I think they're really cute. It's what a lot of people are wearing over as maybe evening dresses or just cool and relaxed like this. It is just a little bit of a fun accessory with gorgeous sleeves. I think that is the thing. I'm really pleased how it's turned out. I don't know how much you can see from there. You will have seen the photos as well, and I did that little short video, so you might have seen that. But as you can see, it fits really nicely on our Smartdoll. I've made it so that you don't have to take your doll apart. It is easier if you take the arms and that off, but you don't have to. If you're careful, you can put it on and off without that. We're going to do the tutorial to make this today. It is quite a long tutorial, I will warn you, because you imagine these sleeves do take some time. But I'm only going to do one sleeve, and then obviously the other sleeve is just exactly the same, so I can make it a little bit simpler like that for you, so you can watch it in your own time then. So this is what we're going to do top down. I hope you're going to enjoy it. If you do make one, don't forget to sort of pop me a picture on Instagram or something, tag me or anything like that. I love to see what other people are doing and what other yarns people use as well. It's just nice to see all that collection. So this is what we're going to do now. We're going to go top down and let's get on with this little shrug. If you know what it's really called, pop a comment below. I will see you in a second. So here we go with our Smartdoll shrug, for want of a better word. I think I will leave it at that. So we can have a little closer look at what we've got here. So you can see how it comes across the chest. So again, you get away with sort of any bust size with the doll. That's one thing about that. And then we've got these gorgeous sleeves. The sleeves are my favourite bit. I absolutely love them. And the back, it just goes across like that. So depending on what sort of yarn you do it in, it could be an evening item, it can just be casual item like this. Now the yarn I'm using is a 4-ply acrylic. It's just a standard basic acrylic yarn. And for the hook size, it is a 3mm crochet hook. Don't forget I'm working in UK terms. It does make a massive difference. So I will pop a tiny conversion on my listing along with all the other listings regarding my Instagram, regarding my Patreon, etc, etc. They will all be listed below. But do check it out. You might need a conversion chart if you're not sure. Most magazines and that do have them in anyway. Now, as I mentioned, it is a long project this, so I've tried to make it a little bit shorter for you guys, so then you can do it in your own time. Now, as you can see, I've already prepped something. Let me take this out. Makes it a little bit easier to see. So basically, we are going to do this side and then the sleeve attached to this. So you can see I've got the two sides. So you've got your two sides like that. And what I've actually done is I've just stitched 2 to 3 stitches together at that end, 2 to 3 at this end, and then picked up all the double crochets around the neck and done 1 double crochet in each one. It just edges it a little bit better. I didn't actually edge this one quite the same. I think this works out a lot better. I think it will sit nicer because you can see it sort of gives a little bit of a shape. It is a slash neck, so it will go over the head. That is what I'd rather do. I know we can take the doll apart. I'd rather not. I think the more you take them apart, the more vulnerable they become. So I do avoid it. We will try it on at some point. In fact, I'm going to take her wig off now because it's easier without that on. I think she looks quite cute without it as well. So you can see this is where this is going to fit across, and then our arms will be attached on either side. So what we're going to do first, as I say, is 1 square, and then we're going to come back to this piece and carry on with the sleeve, so you don't have to see me do 2 sides and things like that. So I think, oh, I nearly knocked her unconscious then, poor thing. In fact, her head's a bit loose now. That's because I did take it off. I'll put her over there and we'll get this yarn out. The other thing I've got is I've just got a stitch marker there, my scissors, my needle, just your bog standard crochet equipment, for want of a better word. So we're going to start with our slip knot. Pop it onto the hook. Now this chain, don't make it too tight, otherwise it does pull on your work. If you find your chain is always way too tight, just go up half a hook size or a hook size and just see how you go from there. We're going to do 27 chain. So we've got 1, 2, you see I'm not pulling it tight, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I need 7 more. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 and 27. Then I'm just going to do 1. That's just my turning chain. So for this first row, I'm going to just do 1 double crochet into each one. It gives you a nice sort of base layer. That's the only reason I do that rather than go straight into the pattern. And also it gives you a layer that if you did want to add on, it gives you a nice level to work with. So here we go, just 1 double crochet into every single one of these chains. See how it's curling? Just straighten it out, it'll be fine. So I'm hoping you can see this. I've got the camera a little bit further away than I would normally have it. I think that there's pros and cons for that. Sometimes it's nice for you to see a close-up, but then you've got to be careful because it blurs and, you know, it makes it difficult for people to see generally. So I'm hoping you can see this okay. As I say, 1 double crochet. One of my hairs in there. Like, with having long hair, it can be a nightmare sometimes. We find sort of hair all over the place. The amount that comes out on a hairbrush, you think I shouldn't have any by now. So keep giving that a little stretch just to flatten it out, make it nice and neat. Now this will fit most 1/3 scale dolls of these sort of proportions, but the style is so easy to alter. I mean, at the moment I've just redone one for a Barbie, and then because Barbie's got long arms, I've done one for a Cindy, and then because Blythe's got a slightly different body type, I've done one for a Blythe. I mean, with Blythe it actually comes out like it's a little crop top. It's ever so cute. So I probably will do the video on that, not back to back with this one. We'll do something else in between. I've got some shamrocks, or ideas towards shamrocks, or sort of Irish sort of, oh, what would you call it, celebratory items for St. Patrick's Day coming up. A bit more of that yarn out, and we're on our last stitch. Now I basically work the size out of this purely by taking the doll and literally going shoulder to shoulder. That was it. That is how I worked that out. So it's nothing more complicated than that. So if your doll's a little bit wider, etc., or a little bit narrower in the body, just make it a little bit smaller. Because there's no... You do ideally have to have a set number, but it's not the end of the world. Now we're going to do 3 chain. 1, 2, and 3. We turn our work. We're going to miss... I'm going to miss this one as well. I'm going to include this first one. I'm going to miss 1, 2, and into this 3rd stitch, I'm going to do a double crochet. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 chain, miss 2, into the double crochet. I think you've probably guessed what's happening now. So we've got 1, 2, 3, miss 2, into number 3. So we got 1, 2, 3 chain, miss 2, double crochet into number 3. 1, 2, 3, miss 2, into 3. 1, 2, 3, miss 2, double crochet into number 3. 1, 2, 3. See where it gets quicker, you see now. Miss 2, double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. Miss 2, double crochet, and that should leave it that we have 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and into the end. So the very last one. It's always hard to pick up that last bit. There we go, that will do me. So have a quick check how many you've got. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which is what I had on that one. So I know I have the right quantity there. So the next rows get even easier. I have my pen and paper ready because I will need... Oh, my lamp nearly fell over then. I don't know whether that affected anything else because I jumped as well as the lamp moved. Oh dear, I'm just going to adjust it again. It's because it's on a very strange angle. So I've sort of just lent it and hoped it stays there. Oh dear, nearly jumped out my skin then. Right, so as I was mentioning, I have my pen. It's because I pulled the paper. The paper was actually sat under it. And I'm just double checking how many rounds we need. Right, da-da-da-da-da. Right, I have 9 rounds written down here, but I think the 9 does include the one I've just done. So we're going to do 9 and then we'll have a look, because as you know, my papers are all over the place. I mean, look at that for a pattern. I've got to rewrite it out because I don't know whether people will want to buy it, but I will pop it on my website as a pattern to purchase as well if people want it. So we have our 9 little loops there. We're going to go 3 chain, 1, 2, 3, turn the work. I like to do the chain before the turn. Some people like to go the other way. It doesn't matter. As long as you've done 3 chain ready to do the next row, that's all that matters. And into the chain space, we're going to do a double crochet. That easy. 3 chain. Into the next one, double crochet. 3 chain. I think you've worked it out. This is how easy this gets now. Keep your double crochet nice and tight though, because otherwise your work will get a bit loose. So 1, 2, 3. Double crochet, 1, 2, 3, double crochet, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, and 3. Now you can see this one looks smaller. That's okay because it keeps the ends tighter. It's still the same stitches, but it just, for some reason, as it curves round, it makes it a smaller place. So double crochet, 3 chain, 1, 2, and 3. Mark down that I've just done that one. So I've counted the first one and I've counted this one. So you can see there's 2 rows there. Turn your work and off we go again. 1, 2, 3. Look, you see how it makes a small one there, but don't forget that's there. That is important. It gives you a neat edge. 1, 2, 3. Double crochet. 1, 2, 3. Double crochet. 1, 2, 3. I quite like doing this one. This is a great pattern for a scarf. You know, if you don't want to do anything that you need to think about, you can just sort of sit staring at the telly while you're making yourself a scarf. Or if you need to make sort of a quick gift or something like that, it makes a really cute scarf. Especially if you go all the way around with an edging, it can look really lovely. 1, 2, and 3. And in, don't forget, I know it's a little space, but get in there. And I'll mark that one down. So it's easy to count. You can see the rows easy enough, can't you? So 1, 2, 3, and turn. 1, 2, and 3. And double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. You will realise if you do end up missing that one, it'll start changing shape. So you'll start getting a bit of a triangle going off. So it is important to make sure you get that last bit. A bit more yarn. One, 2, and 3. One, 2, 3. I think I actually did 4 there. Not end it well for that one. 1, 2, 3, and in you go. 1, 2, 3, ready to turn, and I'm marking it off. So I've got 4 up to now. You can see how the patterning is coming in. And off we go again. So 1, 2, 3, into the space. 1, 2, 3. On the pattern I will write that is into the 3 chain space. 1, 2, 3. Got a couple of patterns to write up actually. Some I thought were already on my website and someone's asked for them and they're not, so I need to rewrite it. 2, 3. And if I can't find it, I'll be watching my own video on how to write the pattern up. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Last one. Then 3 to turn. And mark it down. So we've got 5 up to now. Now you do have to go up to a certain amount of rows purely because the width of the sleeve. So you can't sort of go 2 shot, think, oh, that'll do, because we're fitting the sleeve onto that. So that is important. You could make it longer though, There's no reason why you couldn't make it longer, but then you'd only be attaching the sleeve part way up. But yeah, you could make it into a longer one if you wanted to. 2, 3. So this is row 6. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, double crochet. 1, 2, 3, double crochet. Last one. 1, 2, 3, double crochet, 3 chain turn, 2 and 3, and mark it down. So I now have 6 rows. Row number 7. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2 and 3. It's almost quite hypnotic, this one. Don't do it when you're too tired, because if you start counting, I know I have fallen asleep literally before now while I've been crocheting. If it's been something that's been a bit sort of repeating itself all the time. 1, 2, 3, mark it down. So that is 7. I am now on number 8. There is a reason for me ending on a particular row. So if you are making it shorter or longer, again, you need to do that, and I'll show you why in a second. So we're almost there, because this is 8. One, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And 3 to turn. And we are now on our number 9, and it needs to be on that number 9. So it's like the last sort of chain row is an odd number, basically. And we'll show you why in a second. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. Just a couple more to go. 1, 2 and 3, double crochet. 1, 2 and 3. In fact, I've got some chunky yarn. I'm actually tempted. It's ages since I've done a scarf like this, but yeah, just because of its simplicity, it's just a great way of being able to relax. Right, so that gives us 9. Now the reason being I've done 9 is because 9 has been on my back of the work. You can see, can you see how this bit's a little bit more lumpy? So that is the back of my work. If I turn it over, you can see it's a little bit flatter. So that is my front of my work. Okay, so I finished the chain rows on the back. I'm going to do 1 chain and turn, and this is just going to be a double crochet row. So I'm going to do only 2 double crochets in there, 1 in the double crochet, 2 in the space, 1 in the double crochet, 2 in the space, 1 in the double crochet, 2 in the space, and 1 in the double crochet. So you're probably thinking, well, why are you only doing 2 when it's a 3 chain? Because if we do 3, it is going to splay your work. I know it seems a bit mad that, because on certain occasions you are told to do the same amount as is in the chain, but I found it makes the work loose. So I'm just doing 2. So on the pattern I will say 2 double crochets into the 3 chain space, 1 double crochet in the double crochet. Yeah, so we got 2 in the chain space, 1 in the double crochet. Now this is also the base for working round on the neck, so that's why it's nice to finish on a double crochet row, because it makes it easier for you to pick it up. Now this very last one, the little tiny weeny one, don't forget it. 1 and 2. So that is it. That is, say, the front, can be the back. They're both the same, so you need 2 of those. Okay, now I'd recommend you sew your ends in. It makes life easier after. Now don't worry, can you see that's a little bit wibbly wobbly? Well, when you go round doing the neck round, it softens that out, so don't worry about that. One thing I will say with this particular pattern is always give it a little bit of a stretch, because you'll find it sort of like makes a popping sound with certain yarn if it's bigger, thicker yarn. But basically just give it a little stretch and you know you've got your shape. So if we take 2 of those, and as I mentioned at the beginning, we just stitch them together, 3 stitches, 3 stitches, and then pick up around the neck, and you can see that makes it neater. You can take it up higher. You could do it so it's like a big sort of thick neck edge, something like that. That'd actually be quite nice. It's something I'd considered, but then I thought that's going to make the pattern way too long. So that comes down to how you would like to do it. Now then obviously we pop it together. So we've got, this is the front facing, so it doesn't matter which one, they're both front facing. Now you can use one of these if you wish. Now this is what I did, so I know where the bottom is basically. So that is keeping that one together. You can hold it together whilst you go around, but I'd rather, you see how we're going to work here, I'm going to work from this side bottom, yeah, so here, and I'm going to double crochet all the way along, then I will join it so we have our sleeve hole. So let's get on with that. Now across here we need a set amount of stitches. I'm just reading what I actually did. I've got it written down here. Right, I picked up along these edges 25 stitches. So we're sort of maybe looking at 14, 1, and then 14. Does that add up? No, it doesn't. I got add up. So 125 off. Can't add up. 12. 1, that makes 13, then 12, that makes 25, doesn't it? My maths are terrible. So I need 1 definitely in this double crochet row, because I think that keeps it nice and neat at the bottom there. So I'm going to do a little chain, hold it into place. I'm just going to crochet that end in. You don't have to. You can sew it in at the end if you want. So I'm going to go back in there and do an actual double crochet now rather than just the chain. So that is 1. That is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, then we have another one in there, 12 and 13. Now there is no real right or wrong for your counting, just keep it as sort of distributed evenly as possible. So again, you see how I've actually done that. Okay, so I need another 12 stitches, so I'm going to go 12 down the other side. You see some of the spaces feel bigger than the others, so you'll know if you've got to put 2 stitches in. Some of that does come down purely to practice. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and our very last one into the double crochet. Now this bit here is just where I've been sort of crocheting it in, so I can actually just cut that off now, so it'll save me a job for sewing in later. So we've gone along 1 double crochet all the way along, 25 stitches in total. So I now need to join it, so I bring the 2 sides together and I'm going to do a slip stitch in that very first double crochet we did. and that just brings the work together. Okay, so we've got the armhole placement. We're now going to start working in half trebles, and we're going to work a half treble spiral as well, so you don't have to start all the time, because half trebles you can get away with it. I know it's normally seen as a double crochet movement, but you can do it with a half treble if you are careful. And now and again I am just checking my rounds. I have 10 rounds of 1/2 treble in each stitch. So to start it with though, I do need 2 chain. So that one does start because we've just finished with a different stitch. And we're going to do half treble now. If you're not sure, let me take that out again. Each yarn round, in, pull it through. There are 3 on the hook. We're going to pull it through all 3. That makes it a half treble. Yarn round, in, pull it through, 3 on the hook, pull it through all 3. Now if you have trouble pulling it through all 3, there's nothing to stop you going 2 and 1. That's fine. Depending on the yarn, I will do that. Some yarn, if it slips nicely like this is sort of behaving, I'll just pull it through all 3. It does make it quicker if you can do it that way, but sometimes some yarns just won't give, so you do have to do it that way. So it's just 1/2 treble into every single one of those double crochets we used to form the armhole shape. I mean, basically there's, including this, there's sort of 3 different pattern changes. So it's simple enough. So we'll do 9 rounds of this one, and then we'll move on to a different pattern, and so many rounds, then different pattern. Got to make sure I get my numbers right, because I've been doing these Cindy and Barbie ones, and of course they're a lot shorter. Now you could change the length of the arm if you wanted to. You could do it so maybe down to the elbow. You could do a short sleeve. You don't have to do it like this. This is just what I chose. Now I'm round, but can you remember that first one was a 2 chains? So we're going to have to go in the top of that 2 chain in this particular occasion. From then on, it's just in to the top of the whatever half trebles there. Right, so we've joined. That is 1 of my 10. So you can see how it's already sort of shaping itself, and we'll continue round as just a half treble in every single stitch. It sort of naturally sort of shapes itself a bit here because it's pulled in from the double crochets. It's amazing how much shaping you can do with your work just by changing your sort of hook, well, not your hook size, your stitch length, because some stitches are obviously a lot tighter than others. Obviously a double crochet one is tighter, and then we go half treble, then treble, and then we get looser and looser if you're wanting a lacy effect. Now this, again, it's a very versatile base, and you could change. You could just do it solid half trebles all the way around if you wanted to, all the way down to the bottom. You can sort of play about with it. You'll see in a second why that stitch marker on the other side is useful, because you start going round and round and round, and then you go, hang on, was that where I started or was that where I ended? Because it's joined at both ends, isn't it now? So almost round for round 2. Right, that is round 2 done. Ding ding. So you can see how it sort of curves up a little bit. It's because we did those double crochets and brought it together. But that's good because it gives it a little bit more shaping. So for round 3. Now some of you at this point, I know, will have paused, got on with your 10, and then you'll come back to sort of what the next pattern part is. That's great. I know I have a tendency to do that. I sort of write down what something is, and then I work from that, and then I come back and check things like that if I'm learning something new. So whichever way works for you. If you think I'm going a little bit fast for yourself, you can alter the settings. You can slow them down on YouTube. Not something I knew about so for a long time, but yes, you can slow down. But the problem being is it will slow my voice down, so I'll sound a bit daft. But if you're only watching, you can maybe turn the volume off, pop some music on, something like that, and just watch it sort of nice and steadily. Or just stop, start. Beauty of YouTube is watch a bit, stop, watch a bit, stop. You can do it that way around. If you're still with me, say hi. I know some people do. So already round. Look, you can see, because I know that's at the bottom. I know I'm round without even having to think about it. The beauty of a stitch marker. Right, I'll mark that one. So we're 3. The other thing, obviously, with the length of this, you may not do as many rounds as I'm going to do for the next part, not for this part. I think this part needs to stay at this, because your doll might have a shorter arm, might have a longer arm. I know, obviously, they're all roughly the same, but that most manufacturers will have a slight difference, so their clothing's different and things like that. So you might need your doll's arm to keep measuring. And different styles for different dolls. I know the Blythe, you sort of have a tendency to do a longer sleeve, so it's sort of like cutesy and sort of hanging off her arm. Whereas something like a Cindy, I wouldn't do that. It doesn't fit sort of her looks, or for Barbie really. Although Barbie could get away with it a little bit. But it depends on how you want to dress your doll, basically. What sort of look you're going for. And you could go crazy and have really long sleeves. Or, as I mentioned, maybe do it shorter. They'd look quite cute. I mean, you could even miss this bit that I'm doing now and go straight to one of these, so it gives it like a little frilly edge. So it's a short sleeve. And we're round again. I'm glad I've done it in this colour. Let me just mark that down a second, because I did, when I did try doing the video first, and I did it in this one, and it was just glaring orange, something terrible on the screen. And then it just, well, I realized there was different ways I could do it to sort of just demonstrate it to yourselves. I had to find sort of an easier way to do it. So that's why I decided not to use that footage and chose this colour yarn instead. And I think from here, looking sort of me looking over the top of the camera, I think this works better. Some colours, when you try filming, just do not work. And it's not about using the lighter colours, because white is an absolute nightmare. So I thought this one sort of being a nice pastel-y colour. Although it does look I don't know whether it does look lilac in this camera light, I'm not sure. But it is it's just a soft lilac. I've absolutely no idea how long the whole thing takes. I haven't timed myself top to bottom, because I did mine in stages as well. Because if you're anything like me, if you're doing it too long, your sort of shoulders start burning, or your arms start aching, or your hands start aching. So sometimes it's best to do it in stages anyway. Right, round again. That's 5. So we're all halfway already. So you can see we have sort of the shape. I'm going to count that as my front. It doesn't really matter. But you can see the shaping coming. 5 more rounds. It's amazing how long that feels. And it's actually only 25 stitches. But it feels like quite a lot. Also, one thing to watch, I've noticed, this is a mistake I've made myself. I'd done one sleeve, and then I picked up the stitches on the other side, not really counting them, thinking, oh yeah, that fits about right. And then when I've carried on doing that second sleeve, the sleeve has ended up either larger or smaller. Always make sure, even if it means you counted this and you go, oh, I've got 26, make sure you get 26 on the other side. Or you go, oh, I've only got 23. Again, make sure the other side, unless you're planning on picking it all, that is the same, because then at least your sleeves are equal. So it is something to keep an eye on that. And let's round again. Oh, one more, I think, and then round again. So number 6, only 4 more to go. Again, that's if you're even still with me. It would look quite nice in something like, well, Lurex is the wrong word, a metallic yarn. because you can get a 4-ply. I mean, I know I've got a gold 4-ply metallic. It looks sort of really nice as sort of a glamorous evening type top. In fact, I might have to try that just to see how it works. Again, watch your thickness of your yarn. I'm saying this is a 4-ply. This is a 4-ply here in the UK. Different yarns, different areas are all different thicknesses. Even here in the UK, I can go buy one 4-ply from one shop, another 4-ply from another, and the thicknesses will be different. So I did get a green yarn out to do this, and I kept picking it up. I'm thinking it doesn't feel like a 4-ply, it feels too thick. But it did say it was a 4-ply, but it was definitely thicker than what I'm using now. So you might need to adjust for your doll depending on what yarn you're using. So keep trying it on her. I'm going to pinch one of poor Bree's arms when I get to the end of this bit so we can use it as sort of an example for the length of it. So that's 7. Only 3 more to go. That's actually not gone that bad. Just looking at the time on the phone at the moment. I mean, allowing for the fact, obviously, I had sort of a good maybe 5 minutes-ish talk at the beginning. It's only taken us half an hour for one front and this much of the sleeve. I think looking at it, it's probably about a 3-hour job though. It's not a quick make, but with the Smartdolls, obviously because of their size, not a lot is a quick make. So I know when I've made the dresses, the couple of dresses that I've did in crochet, and I did that in a finer yarn, people are going, oh, do the pattern, or oh, would you sell these and that, but the actual dresses took me sort of 6 hours plus to make, so it's not very practical for a pattern, or well, it's not practical for a tutorial, should I say, and then they would be too expensive to sell, because I always use sort of like an artisan yarn with those as well. It's not a cheap yarn that I will use, because it does make a difference. Right, so number 8. 2 more. That's all, 2 more. And if you think about that, that's only 50 stitches. And then we can change to one of my favourite stitches. I keep calling them shells. I don't know. I suppose they're sort of shells. They've got slightly short, smaller shells. A shell's usually like a full sort of fan out of stitches. This isn't so much of a fan out. So it's, I don't know, like a wide V-stitch. That's one of my favourite stitches, a V-stitch as well. That's a great scarf one. So what did I say I was on? This is number 9, isn't it? I think what I'm actually going to do for myself is just have a tiny pause when I get to the end of this. Problem being, when I do a tutorial and my hands are up, I mean, when I'm crocheting normally, I'm sort of relaxed more down here, but obviously for people to see things, so I sit a little bit awkward. I must find a better sort of seat or something like that might help. Right, so that's number 9, and I'm going to go around one more for our number 10. And then I'm going to pause the camera. You will not see that pause, hopefully, when I put it together. I'm going to grab myself a quick drink because my throat's a little bit dry, and give my shoulders a shake out. And then we'll carry on with the next part of the pattern. I might take the stitch marker out as well because it's starting to tap on my table, which I find a little irritating. But when we get on to the next pattern, you won't need the stitch marker because you can see exactly where you're going to stop and start, because it will have to be a stop and start for that part of the pattern. Last few. And I want one more. I'm doing one more, then I'm going to do a slip stitch because I need a slip stitch to get ready to start the next part of the pattern. So if I can find my clicky thing that I've got, we're going to do a quick pause for me. And on we go. So the next pattern, as you can see on here, I hope you can see how you're going to get this sort of nice sort of lacy effect as we go down. Now the first part of the pattern, we have 6 rows. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm saying 6. Let me count that again. So I think that's a bigger one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 rounds actually. But again, adjust to your doll. Now this is going to look a bit grim because I'm going to pinch Aubrey's arm here. There we go. That was easy. It was already loose because of what I've been doing. So this is our Smartdoll arm. Always be careful with these joints. Well, my poor Mariah's actually got a broken elbow again at the moment. She had one right at the beginning when I got her. And it's sort of been sort of vulnerable ever since. You can repair it, but it just takes a little bit of doing, that's all. So this is our shoulder, obviously, here. And let's imagine popping it in. So our shoulder's about there. So you can see I'm sort of approximately this far down the arm. So it might be a good idea. Might be easier if you can leave it on the doll because you can see it better, but we'll just use it like that for now. So let's get going with the next part of the pattern, which couldn't be any easier. It's still going to stay with half trebles at the moment. So from that slip stitch, we're going to do 2 chain. And into the hole, can you see the hole where the slip stitch came out of? I'm going to do a half treble. I'm going to do 1 chain. And I'm going to do 2 more half trebles into that space. I'm going to miss 2, 1, 2, and into our next one, you might have guessed it, we're going to do 2 half trebles, 1 chain, 2 half trebles. We're going to miss 2, 1, 2, into number 3, 2 half trebles, 1 chain, 2. I said I was going to take that stitch marker out, wasn't I? 2 half trebles. We'll do this round first because it's scratching the table. It's annoying. So 1, 2 into our number 3, 2 half trebles, 1 chain, 2 half trebles, all in that 1 stitch. Miss 2, and off we go again. 2 half trebles, 1 chain, 2 half trebles. Miss 2, 2 half trebles, 1 chain, 2 half trebles. 1, 2, number 3, 2 half trebles, 1 chain, 2 half trebles. Gonna miss 2, 1, 2, and this is our very last one for this round, that is. 1, 2, 1 chain, 1 and 2, and slip stitch into the top of that first 2 chain. So we need to have a quick look here. Apart from that, I'm going to take this stitch marker out. There we go. Now let's have a look how many you've got, because again this makes a difference to make sure you get the other side right. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 scallops. Double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 scallops, and you will continue having 8 scallops. They do not increase. They will increase in their size, their length, but they do not increase in quantity. They will keep going 8. So that is my row 1 of the 5. Now I've slip stitched into that one, but I need to be in the middle here. So I'm just going to jump straight to that 1 chain space and do another slip stitch. Okay, this is why we'll always know where we are, because it's going to stop start all the time. So 2 chain and into that chain space, half treble. I think you've probably guessed it. 1 chain and 2 half trebles into that 1 chain space. So you get like a little scallop on top of a little scallop, or a little V. So here we go. Next one. So I've just jumped straight to that next 1 chain space. I've done 2 trebles, 1 chain and 2 trebles. I needed 1 then, didn't I? It's easier now because you're going into the chain space as well. So next chain space, 2 half trebles, 1 chain, 2 half trebles. Next one, or not, as I dropped it. So good job it's crochet, isn't it? I'd be crying if that was knitting because it would have run. There we go. So we have 1, 2, 1 chain and 2 half trebles. I think as well, when you've got to this point, you know, I say about watching TV and doing it, it's the sort of pattern you can just do then, because you don't, well, apart from maybe having a pen and paper to mark how many, you don't have to overthink what you're doing. So we're not counting sort of stitches, distances, we're just going straight into the chain spaces with the combination of 2 half trebles, 1 chain, 2 half trebles. Slow down, that's what's wrong with me. I'm speeding up a bit, aren't I? Yep, we caught it. Take it out. If it catches, take it out. It's only a couple of stitches and it's better than sort of having your finished work spoilt. So here we go. Half treble, half treble. Next one. 2 half trebles, 1 chain, 2 half trebles. Also, try and keep this bit tight. You know, when we jump to the next one, if that's loose and we jump, you're going to have sort of looser gaps in between. So you need to keep that quite tight before we jump. So our 2 half trebles, 1 chain, 2 half trebles. I'm going to now slip stitch join into the top of the 2 chain. Remember we had 2 chain, and then I can mark off, that is my round number 2 of 5. So just jump straight into that 1 chain space again, and off we go, exactly the same. 2 chain counts as a half treble, then a half treble, 1 chain and 2 half trebles. Into our next one. 1, 2 half trebles, 1 chain and 2 half trebles. You can see it's already started to look like it's splaying a little bit. I mean, technically it's the same amount of stitches. It's just sort of the way the pattern sits that it pushes it out. Because remember, we missed 2 stitches, didn't we, in between each one? So, well, no, I suppose you're not. I think there would be... Yeah, you have actually increased, haven't you? You've increased a couple of stitches sort of each section. So that would create the initial splaying of the top. Oh, where's my hole there? Have I got giddy and done 3 in there? I do that sometimes. It's terrible. I think I've added a stitch in there, but I'm just going to go for the centre. It'll be fine. I think I sometimes sort of run into granny square mode, and I sort of desperately want to do 3 in each, if you know what I mean. But we'll not undo that. If I was doing it like to sell or doing it for somebody else, I would undo. But as it's only for me, I am not going to undo it. We're almost round again. So 2 half trebles, 1 chain, 2 half trebles. Our last one for this round. We've got 2 half trebles, 1 chain, 1, 2 half trebles, slip stitch join in the top of that first 2 chain, and I'll mark it off. So we have 3 now. So you can you see how it's starting to sort of go sort of almost bell shaped as it's coming out. That's good. That's what we want. We want that nice sort of curve, because as you can see, it does come out quite wide there. So on we go. Slip stitch into the 1 chain space, 2 chain and 2 half trebles. Well, 1 half treble, because that first one's counted, isn't it? 1 chain and 2 half trebles. I think this is going to be probably one of the longest videos I've done for ages. Right, jump into the next one. 1 chain. And the 2 half trebles. It's just literally jumping into every single one of the 1 chain spaces with the combination of 2 half trebles and 1 chain and 2 half trebles. Nearly back in. Yep, so there we go. That's always double check that you've not done one. I think that's why I ended up with an extra one somewhere further round, because I sort of went, oh, I've got to undo it, because I did, didn't I? Undid it at one point. That's probably what I've done. Should have checked. Into our next one. And 1. And 1. And we're already round. This is round 4, looking good. 2 half trebles or 1 chain and 2 half trebles. And slip stitch join. We're going to do one more round of this one and then we'll change the pattern up again. It's nothing complicated though. It's just a variation on what we've already been doing. So slip stitch into that 1 chain space, 2 chain. It does use quite a bit of wool, this as well, so that's another thing to make sure. I mean, you might be a remnant piece of wool you're using, but you do need to make sure you've got enough. One, 2, 1, 1, 2, into the 1 chain space, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. After this, we need to check the length on the arm as well. Because I know I'm going back to yarn thickness, but if the yarn's slightly thicker than a standard 4-ply or it's a finer one, it will make a difference to the sizing, so you do need to keep an eye on that. That's why it's so hard to do a pattern, and that's why I'll use what I would class as just a standard 4-ply yarn to be able to tell people, because I know if I use one of my artisan ones, for example, or a sock yarn, it's going to make a difference to the size. So we are round with number 5. Yay! Slip stitch join, and let's have a little look. I mean, it looks wide there, but when it's on the doll, obviously it's coming round like that, so it sort of narrows off. So I know I'm having to approximately guess, so that's where her shoulder is. And yeah, that's where I thought it would be. It's sort of just below the elbow. So now for this last bit, I'm going to say an amount, but this is where you now need to start thinking about counting. Now on here, I have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have got 9 rounds of the next part of pattern I'm going to show you. But keep measuring it on your doll. You might find 8's enough. You might want to go longer. You might want 10. This is where it's going to sort of alter as you go. So I'm going to show you the technique. I'm going to do a couple of rounds, and then I'm just basically going to show you the edging, because I have like a little picot edge going off there. So I'm going to show you that, and then I will going to leave it to you. So here we go. It's so easy, this next bit. It's not really any different. So we're going to slip stitch into there. And now we're going to work in trebles. These are all going to be trebles, so they're a longer stitch. And there's also going to be 2 chain between them. So because it's a treble, we start with 3. We're going with a treble. We're going to do 2 chain. Go back in with 2 treble. So it's the same thing. We just got a longer stitch and 1 extra chain in the middle. Ta-da! Off we go. So we have a treble, 2 chain. I mean, you can carry on with the other bit if you wanted to. It's just that it won't splay any further. This is going to sort of really make it sort of splay out. And also by going on to a treble now, I mean, it's nice to see there's a stitch change, but it also is a bit quicker. But it is looser. Your trebles are always going to be looser than your half trebles. But it's basically the same combination where we go 2 trebles, 2 chain. In fact, this time it's easy to remember because it's 2, 2, 2, and 2 trebles. 2 trebles, 2 chain, 2 trebles. It's getting a bit harder to hold as well now. So here we go. We have our 2 trebles, 1, 2 chain, and we have 2 trebles. You can see how different the stitch is in a second. I'll show you. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh, the sun's just come out, so you can see the shadow now because the sun's come out. Not quite sure what's causing that shadow. Oh, it's the doll that's causing it. And the last one for this round. Oh, the sun's gone back in now. Oh, got a bit of sun for 2 seconds anyway. Could do with a bit more, I think. I don't like it hot. I'm a pain because I don't like it cold either. But yeah, the sun makes you feel a bit nicer, doesn't it? When it's been sort of dark and miserable and you get a nice bit of sun coming through. And the cat loves it because then she'll find a spot to lie in. So can you see the difference here? So we've gone from this one and then we're longer, but it sort of creates that gentle sort of change in the pattern. So I think it works really well. And also, I know I was thinking about sort of different colours. Say if you wanted to change your colours, what a great way, you could do like an ombre sort of, say if you've got 3 shades of whatever colour you're using, you can go from one, you could go from dark to light to very light, or the other way around. And I think it would make a really nice effect. Or a nice variegated yarn. I have got one out actually that I was going to make one, so I can pop it on my site, and that is a really pretty variegated, so I'm waiting to see how that one comes out. So that is the round you're going to be doing, and it is 2 trebles, 2 chain, 2 trebles, and then you're going to continue exactly the same as you did last time. So you've done your slip stitch join into your 3, you're going to jump slip stitch into there and continue 2 trebles, 2 chain, 2 trebles in every single one. And we should still have 8. We counted 8, didn't we? Fingers crossed I've not made another one. You don't usually at this point. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So I still have my 8. We'll have a quick look on the arm. I mean, a 3/4 sleeve would look quite nice. You could sort of leave it at that. I don't know, perhaps if it was, again, maybe something over like an evening gown or something like that. I think that would look quite nice. So I'm not going to do any more with you there. We said 9, didn't we? Let's double check. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I had 9. You keep going until it's the length you want. But let's have a look at the little picot edge. So I've already slip stitched into there. So I'm going to do 1 chain, okay? And then I'm going to do 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 1, 2 and 3, chain, go back into that very first of those 3 chain and do a slip stitch. So it makes a picot, and then another double crochet into there. Okay, the first one's a bit weird because we've done that sort of chain bit, but after that it does settle. Then we want a double crochet in the top of each of those trebles. Now I'm actually going, now there is 2 trebles here, so it is in the top of each treble, but I just like to personally sort of go into the space. That's just personal preference, but that's the stitch there. So double crochet, top of the 2 trebles into the space. I'm going to have 1. I'm going to have 2, then 1, 2, 3 chain into the first of those 3 chain, pull it through, and slip stitch is a bit hard there. Make sure your stitch isn't too tight. There we go. I got in there. And then one more double crochet. Oh, that twisted. You don't want it to twist either. Make sure it stays to one side, and double crochet. All right, one double crochet in the top, basically a double crochet in the top of every single half treble, and then into the chain space is where you do your combination. So we do one double crochet, two double crochet, 1, 2 and 3, slip stitch into the first chain, pull it through, one double crochet, and then one double crochet into the top of each of the two. So can you see what we're trying to achieve? We're trying to get these lovely spikes on the top of each one. And I said the basic combo is double crochet into each of the treble stitches and into the chain space, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, and then 1 double crochet back in, and then 1 double crochet in the top of each of the trebles, and you continue round. And look how that sort of creates a really nice edge. You don't have to do that. You could just leave it as just this sort of scallop, but I think that makes a massive difference. In fact, that would look quite cute as a short one, wouldn't it? Let's see. I might actually turn this into a 3/4 one for myself, because obviously she's got the one. Let me bend her arm, make sure I do it properly. Yep, that'd sort of sit sort of mid forearm, wouldn't it? So that'd be quite nice. I think I probably will continue on there, because I love this sort of long sort of look that's on there. Now I will comment on one more thing before I say bye-bye to you. I'm going to take this one off her, and I'm going to show you how you can actually put it on without taking your doll apart. Make sure her arms are all in place. Make sure they click into place. So my arms are above the head. Again, depending what doll you've got, it might have a different system. So, you know, you've got to be careful. But this is how I've done it with the Smartdoll. It is easier without the hands. They slot off nice and easy, as you know. And this one's been on and off her a couple of times, so it should go on really easy. The other thing with yarn, again, don't worry if something's a little bit tight, because it will slightly stretch. So I'm basically putting it on both arms. And it's still not easy. They are fiddly to dress, I must admit. And then, because she hasn't got a wig on, that's coming straight over her head. Little wiggle in, careful over the elbow joints. The other reason to take the hands off is it catches in this. Nice and flat. It's on. And just pop the hands back on. That is that simple. So the only thing you've took apart are her hands, but they really are designed to come on and off quite nicely. So you can see how that sort of creates like that. I am hoping, I think I'm going to do some sort of, not a bikini top, but some sort of bikini-ish top, if that makes any sense. I've not even decided what I'm doing yet. I might work on maybe a granny square principle, something like that. So as I can do it in this yarn, so it will fit underneath this. So it makes it look like it's a full top with just this sort of area open, which I think would work quite well. If I do that one though, I think, because I've already done a bikini pattern on here, well, bikini top pattern on here, I might pop that one onto my Patreon, because I think that might be sort of a nice quick one to pop on there as well for people. So I've got a bit of a mixture then. So we've got a bit of everything on each one. So that's basically it for our Smartdoll, whatever we're going to call it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're going to have a go. If you do, let me know. I'm just going to undo that bit. There's a little bit of frog in there, because I want to continue the length of the sleeve, don't I? So I don't want my edging on that. So I'm going to continue with that. I've quite enjoyed doing it. It is a long one, but it is nice with the actual result. It's worth it, I think, for the result you do get. But yeah, tag me, you know what it's like. Please like, subscribe and share. Check out my details below as well if you want to look at the other things that I do. Thank you so much for watching, and I think it's going to be some St. Patrick's Day things soon. So bye-bye for now.